October the 27th, which is 9, and at the, what's the name of the place?
Clybourne Village.
What's the name of it?
Clybourne Village.
Clybourne Village. We're coming to you in the mile-high city of Denver. And like I said, there's something mystical about those mountains and stuff, and I think what you have to do is you have to go and you have to do research. Get on the internet and do research and find out what is all that is about. Because I know that they have a metaphysical book convention here every year now, recently, the last three years, and that's not by mistake. So there's something about the mountains, and that means there's got to be something about the black people who settled in this area. So, you know, because other niggas in the West Coast, I'm like, we're going to Denver. They said, there's black people in Denver. So, you have to do the research and find out what are those mountains and what is the significance on the spiritual aspect, because there was the mountains existed before the white man got here. So you got to understand that. You know, Hakeem Bey had done a lot of work and found out that, you know, the Grand Canyon has, you know, a temple of Isis in there, a temple of Horus up in there. In the book Ice, the Ultimate Disaster, you got one of the pages, they found a stela or a slab or a stone of Akhenaten hymns in Oklahoma. You know, they got Native Americans who were speaking Meta in Maine. So this bears witness to what they were saying, that basically, you know, we were over here, you know, years before. When I was in Tennessee one year, about 7 years ago, I met a woman who had done a lot of work in Tennessee, and you know, who was in Memphis. And come to find out that Memphis was not named Memphis by the white Masons. They was named Memphis because when they got there, the Native Americans or the Native indigenous people named it Memphis. Or they kept telling them it was Memphis, and they said, well, we will call it Memphis, but tell us why. They said, well, you can't change it, it's Memphis. As soon as they told them it was Egyptian, then, you know, by the country being started by the Masons, or, you know, white Masons, they said, well, cool, we need to find out. And they told them the story about how in African society, you know, if you did something that wasn't favorable, they didn't lock you up, they didn't have jail systems at one time. You just had to leave that land. And some people say, well, how is that? They didn't have jail systems. But we got to understand, they didn't have, murder was taboo. Nobody really got murdered, you know what I'm saying? That was taboo. Some people say, how can things be taboo? You can encode what you want a person to go by based on your rites of passage. It's just like right now, you've been trained that you're going to hell. And to this day, you big grown rusty-ass people thinking that you're going to hell when you live in hell. And that's because you was taught that way as a child. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with the curse word thing. There's no such thing as curse word. There's only one curse word that we use, and that's damn. And that's the only curse word, which is the only curse word in the whole lot of what they call profanity. That's a curse word, and it's the only one that people get least offended by. The preachers can say it, you can say it on TV, and then it has to be in a certain context. You have to damn someone for it to be activated as a curse word. So the other stuff is just British slang or European slang that we actually think that God is going to look down on you because you say these words, and they have nothing to do with curse word whatsoever. But you was taught that as a child, and you know, you got spanked or whatever by saying it, and it's in the archetype and collective unconsciousness. So when a grown person says it around you, you be 40, 50, 60, 70, it registers that that person is being vulgar. And it has nothing to do with it. It's somebody else's slang linguistic. You know, if you was in Britain, bloody would be just as bad as saying shit. You know, bloody is you know, that's one of their curse words, a profanity. You know, and the word shit, do you know that the most ancient name for God is called shit? Shut, soot, which means excrement, something left behind. So shit is a good word. But, you know, you never do that. We'll get into that particular science on that later on. But going back to, they said it was Memphis, and they said that the people in African society, whenever you did something wrong, you had to leave the society. And they said they had a lot of group of the people that traveled over to Americas in Memphis, although they had your Olmecs and all those particular people, their cousins was already over here, because it was all black. So what happened was, they named it Memphis after Memphis, Egypt, or Memphis, Kemet. And so when the Native Americans got in the land, they had to remember the indigenous black people, the Egyptians, or the Camites that was living in Memphis, Tennessee, that called it Memphis. So they carried the name over, and when the white boys got here, you see what I'm saying? They kept the name. So, you know, they kept the name. So, you need to do some research and find out what are those mountains and what is significant to it. And you also need to deal with some spiritual channels to find out what is the group of black people doing migrating near those mountains or whatever to have a population. And you'll find out there's a whole spiritual element. You see what I'm saying? There's a whole spiritual element on these particular places that we go and do these particular lectures and stuff. It's not by accident. It's not by accident. It's the same thing when I go to Detroit. The energy is always so powerful. I mean, it's always off the hook. And I've been going there about 7 years, and it's always, I mean, it's 7, 8 years, and it's always off the hook. But we know that black people cause so much hell in Detroit until the energy, you know, you ain't convincing them that the white man ain't the devil. Shit, they believe it every day. You know, so the energy, so you get, and you find different places you go, there's different energy frequencies and stuff like that. You know, I'll take, for instance, in Atlanta, which is where I reside, I have lectures, but the energy is real strong. I have to conjure up a lot to get it really flowing. That's not because of the black people there, that's because they knew that this was a predominantly black city, and so they got all types of rituals going on, chemtrails, all types of government experiments to make the energy real dense. You see, because it is oasis, a metropolis of black people there, you can tell the difference in these different areas. So it's not by mistake that I'm here. I started a company about a year ago, me and a sister by the name of Deborah Morris. She runs a company, we got it, it's called the Ark of Sothis. Sothis is another word for Sirius. The number is 404-344-6862, 404-344-6862. And what I did was I had over 200 tapes out from speaking from starting in June of '92 on in to now. I had a bunch of tapes and I spoke a lot of places, and we chronicled all that in the last year, so we got tons of this particular information. And you can also take that information and get stuff in the archives. You can get stuff in the archives also. So the name of the company is Ark of Sothis. You can send for, it's a catalog. I don't know what happened. Something happened to my catalog on the plane or whatever. This is the cover. You can send for the catalog of all the videos and tapes of Ark of Sothis also to get in touch. But also, like I said, there's several things going on all across the country. I travel a lot. Like I said, I got a hell of a career. I just don't make no money. I make less than $10,000 a year, and all. So that ain't attractive on one particular aspect and all. But I don't make no money. But I got a hell of a career. I mean, I'm able to travel, and I'm able to lecture and dispense all this particular information. I might not make no money, but I don't work, so that all average out. You know, I only do this on the weekend and just lay on my ass to gentlemen of leisure. You know, and stay up late and stuff, you know. And so I really, you know, I'm glad for that, you know, that I don't have to get up and, you know, and I basically, now I'm spoiled. I'd rather live without than to damn get a job, I swear to God. But then again, I can't, who am I? I don't have any children. You see what I'm saying? So that makes a big difference. You know, I don't have any children and all, and as of a year ago, I don't have a woman either. Let's put it this way, I don't have a one that lives in the crib anymore. I don't have a live-in no more and all, so I thank her for liberating me on that level. On that level and all, but you know. But I guess she got tired of living in poverty. No, but in actuality, you know, it's amazing because even, it's amazing about a consumer's life in America, because although I made less than $10,000, And she just started maxing out about 30. I said, you wait till they give you about $30,000, you know, and you going on up the pay ladder, you decide to haul ass, you know. You went from a part-time job to making about 30, 35,000, then all of a sudden you get the hell on. But even just in a minimal level and stuff, we moved in a house about a year, back in February of 99, and I remember in 95, we moved out this apartment, and we left bed, we left all that stuff. I didn't even move none of that shit. Moved the books, moved the clothes, moved my albums, you know what I'm saying, and leave all that old furniture and shit up in the house, you know. And it was interesting that was in 95, from 95 to 99, when we got ready to move in the house, we had accumulated so much stuff until goddamn they caught the flu moving. So that lets you know how much we consume as people, you know. So even on a minimal level, only thing we doing is buying a whole bunch of shit we don't need. You know what I'm saying? Get that movie Fight Club. Very key movie. This Fight Club is the same as The Matrix. It's just that they put a whole lot of violence in it. And most sisters can't even get with the movie because it got so much violence in it. And you're looking at the violence, and that's what they do to throw you off. They put a lot of action, a lot of violence, and you're not getting the underlying message. Get the movie Fight Club and listen to everything that Brad Pitt says in the movie. Real tight movie based on the, based on the Matrix. A lot of stuff that went on, you know, in that particular movie. That movie, The Truman Show, it came out, Dark City. I mean, there's so many movies, you know. Needful Things. You know, it's just so much stuff that trap us into this particular hell we're in. And just a life of consuming. You know, so, life of consuming. But anyway, let's see what else. We are living in some very interesting times, and I want to go into the events of 9/11, to just pinpoint some things, and then we'll go into what's behind that, as well as a whole lot of other things we need to deal with, as well as a cosmic war that started about a couple of months before that, between some entities that don't want to get up off the power. And some entities that, and us coming into the power. So in so many words, the entities that you've been praying to, especially most of the male entities, you see what I'm saying? Most of the male entities that you've been praying to, those particular entities know that it's time for us to take back the heavens, or take back the universe, and they don't want to get up off the power, so therefore they decided to get in the way, but they're very old. We'll get into that. I'm going ahead of myself at this particular time. At this particular time, any masculine or male god that sets over the four major world religions, you consider them your enemy. You know, Yahweh, that male patriarchal order. We just, well, I don't know, you just call it God or whatever in Christianity and all, you know. But the male patriarchal order, just remember now, in history, that patriarchal entity overthrew the Great Mother. We'll go into some of that, go into some of the mythology so that you can see, give you the bibliography. I used to travel with 3 times as much books, but since 11/11, you know, to get past so they don't search you and all, you got to travel light and stuff. So I used to have 8 times as much stuff, so I just traveled all these papers and stuff like that. So we'll go into that particular information. Right now I want to pour libations. And there's a reason why you pour libations is because you want to fill the room up with a certain amount of energy. Also because you don't want the remote viewers, which means that in every city they have their remote viewers. When they know of certain people coming to town, a remote viewer is a psychic spy. You saw it on the movie The Fury with Kirk Douglas. It's also in the movie Doom when they tell a person to go and tell the Bene Gesserit priest to go in and tap in and see what the other people are doing in the meeting. So they have their remote viewers come, and what they do is they try to psychically spy. So you want to pour libations to block out all of that. You see what I'm saying? Of our particular entities. And all, because we're always in a form of psychic warfare with the Europeans and all, you know, and the Europeans, so we want to pour libations as well as want to get a certain amount of energy. The I have actually had reports of going to cities and sisters and younger teenagers getting opened up psychically. You know what I'm saying? Opened up psychically by doing the actual libations. Just about most sisters can tap into psychic ability easily. There's really no problem doing it. It's just a matter of having confidence in what you see, having confidence in what you see, or what you hear, and knowing that it's real. That's why they always say, never think that your thoughts are just foolishness because you haven't heard anybody else say it other than you. So that means that you get these particular transmissions all the time. It's just that you just been in the habit of saying, "Oh, that's just crazy." You know. So one thing is just also the confidence in believing in these transmissions if you get these particular transmissions. So let's post some libation with the rum. Like I said, you know, this is some good stuff for warfare. Like I said, you drive with no insurance, spit the rum in the car 4 ways. There's another one too where you can take some red meat and put on the tires, and you can drive like you're crazy, never get in a wreck. If you take red meat and rub them on on the 4 tires and stuff, you know, like that. There's all types of things that came off of the continent, you know, and you can drive, you know. Like I said, you can spit this rum 4 ways. You can spit it in your house 4 ways, and this is actually spiritual warfare for entities and stuff. So I want to call on these ones that I'm dealing with at this particular time. I'm dealing with these particular entities. I want to give a shout out to Nania. Is that how you say it? Yes. Nania Enterprises with Brother Jabrari and his significant other, Nubala, that had me come in, as well as, what is it, Kemet Makaru Bookstore with Brother Kemet and sister, his significant other, Nefertari, for also in a joint effort to bringing me in also to Denver. Like I say, it's always spiritual that we come and we do these things and all, because this is also considered the mountaintop. Like I said last night, in the Rig Veda, or the mythology of Yoruba, not Yoruba, Hindu mythology, you have the queen that is significant to Isis, or Mary, or whoever, you know, that major queen is Parvati. Parvati is the one who gets with Shiva. And Parvati is called mountaintop, which means the apex. She is the mountaintop. And she gets with Shiva and all, you know. And of course, but she likes Shiva because Shiva can knock boots real good. It's in the mythology. You know, I'm looking at this stuff and all, and I'm reading this stuff and going, you know, this is some spiritual stuff. But we have been programmed that this stuff should never enter. That it should never enter into any type of spiritual things. But when you get back to the ancient arcane information prior to 2,000 years, you find out that just about anything you think was raunchy or uncouth was a very great aspect of daily life amongst the gods. You know what I'm saying? Daily life amongst the gods and all. Jealousy. That bitch must think she the shit. You know, all that. You know, you see it in the Yoruba stuff, you know. Him and y'all don't get along with Oya, and then they, you know, and somebody, you know, so it's a whole bunch of things. And some people say, well, damn, why would I want to mess with some gods that behave like that? But see, the Africans understood that when you see the behavior going on amongst them, it means that amongst the gods, it means in actuality that you're not far removed from that. See, the whole Judeo-Christian Islamic concept is that God is unapproachable. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, you will never gain your potential in being a God. So when somebody says you a God, you go, well, I got problems with me being a God, because I'm an imperfect human. You see? And so the God is unapproachable. Whereas the God that is in the earlier mythology, prior to 2,000 years ago, the characteristics are very much human. But they're gods prior to humans getting here. You know, There's whole realms when these gods used to rule prior to the humans getting here. And the stuff is very much human. So we're talking about really somebody literally doing a job on us through the whole Judeo-Christian paradigm. You see what I'm saying? And like I said last night, just about 98% of what is spiritual is not in religion at all. Not in religion at all. That means that in actuality, you could probably live a greater spiritual life without ever even being introduced into religion. You know, G.W. Doom, the guy that wrote Bible myths and their parallels, and coined the phrase, he who knows one God knows none, or he who knows one book knows one. Said that I'm a Christian soldier going all around the world to somehow colonize or to make civilized the savage heathen with my Christian doctrine and my Bible. But he said, everywhere I went, I saw that the heathens lived a harmonious life with nature and each other, unparalleled. And here me with my Christian Bible in turmoil. You see, then he understood that he who knows one book knows none. And what we're talking about when we talk about religion, we're not talking about spiritual, esoteric systems. We're saying religions. Something that's only 2,000 years old. Has very little to do with spirituality whatsoever. It's just moral doctrine or laws to govern social society. So before they had the stop sign or the yield sign, they encoded it in, you know what I'm saying? Right. Into the so-called religious material so that the people could behave a certain way in the social society. And now we look at that as being right with God. Islam has got it even worse than anybody's, you know, with this foolishness and all. But all of the what you call major world religions that dominate people, there's a thin line between behavior and also murder, because they can do both and justify it. So we are locked into a whole religious war right now, whether you like it or not. It's a war between Christianity and Islam. Right. Both of them ain't about shit. That's right. And Judaism on the helm because you got the whole Israel thing up in there. But remember now, you have Tel Aviv is running part of the world. That's the Jewish thing. They got one faction. You got Rome with the Pope, got another faction. You see? And you got Mecca that's got another faction. You see? Then you got the Christian Orthodox or Christian Church of England and all that stuff, got another faction. You see what I'm saying? And then you got some form of Buddhism that's got the other faction. These are world religions that have nothing to do with the ancient mystical system. You see what I'm saying? Have nothing to do with the ancient mystical system. They're male chauvinist murder cults and basically political in the 98% of whatever they function. You know, and so therefore, we never get anything spiritual. And when spiritual things come up, we call them crazy or evil. You see, you know, evil, or you have to say voodoo or whatever the deal is, but any spiritual stuff, you know, that comes up, you know, give you an example. Let me pour these libations first. You know, I get to talking and shit, you know. This thing going here and all. So let's go to these particular entities that we called on yesterday. We'll go into them also later on. These are the Congo rites, a mixture of Congo and Olmec spirits. 11 of those, and so we want to deal with those today. I'm giving a promotion with these around the country and all, because these are the ones that are the spirits that is the ones that's lined up with this black hole that we're into right now. This black hole that we're into. Let me see if my pants zip now, because shit, I'll see us in the Detroit. My damn elected for 30 damn minutes. Motherfuckers just looking. Nobody had y'all niggas didn't tell me that my pants zip. Of all the time not to be polite, I mean, I ain't asked you to be polite. Tell her, hey, nigga, your Johnson is hanging out. You know, so anyway. You know, so let's pour these particular libations. And all, yeah. I'm an expert with that. Zarabanda. Okay. El Cristo Negro. Las Cruces en Tranquilas. La Santísima Muerte. San Simón. El Cristo Rey. Madre de la Luna. Madre de Agua. La Santísima Petra Iman. Francisco de Reyes. Mama Shola. Oticha. Omagumu. Tiecha. Cheola. Shumala. Tecumbo. Locayo. Okay. Aetha. Let's see here how I'm going to do this. Aetha. Osa. Okay, let me see how I'm going to do this. Okay. Brahmin. Vishnu. Ravini. Ramachandra. Shiva. Sita. Hanuman. Lakshmi. Jansiya. Dambalawedo. Marasha. Bridget. Agamvardi. Let's see. Erzuli. Edoedo. Zaka. Alafi. Alafi. Adudawa. Arumala. Oshun. Yeminya. Arashrisha Oku. Demeter. Artemis. Y'all gotta give me some higher shades than that. This is gonna be some energy and shit. Y'all sound like, you know, like y'all in the old folks' home and shit. Demeter. Artemis. Hermes. Aphrodite. Apollo. Rhea. Uranus. Aether. Osa. Tahuti. Maya. Ptah. Sut. Amun-Ra. Ket-Heru. Anpu. Aset. Nebher. Okay, Nebher. Okay, let's see here. Mithra. Virtra. Dana. Vishnu. Ramashidra. Palladi. Sati. Indasuda. Kali. Kalima. Durga. Let me go on. This paper's slowing me down, so. Okay. Let's see. Mayat. Sekmayat. Sekmet. Sashet. Selket. Heru. Nebher. Tayit. Sutnubit. Sutnesi. Suthar. Suthar. Lakshmi. Lucifer. Jinsaya. Samuel. Lilith. Layla. Lilitu. Astarte. Ishtar. Anana. Hold on. Let's see. Get some more. Devi. Sri Lakshmi. Bertra. Kim. Kimapis. Kimu. Amru. Anunnaki. Anpu. Anubis. Hermes. Tahuti. Eros. Ea. Aphrodite. Tartarus. Hold on 1 minute. Let's see here. Prometheus. Epimetheus. Dionysus. Hera. Jason. Medea. Echidna. Ereskabul. Shekinah. Upper Shekinah. Lower Shekinah. Hold on. Malkuth. Ain. Ain Sada Uda. Ain Sada. Sebek. Sobek. Soker. Seker. Sabu. Sahu. Amma. Nama. Ba. Na. Ka. Yuru. Kunju. Digitarius stages. Nomo. Nanette. Lakshmi. Ash. Boom. Bel. Belial. Bal. Belzebub. Beelzebub. Behemoth. Leviathan. Leviathan. Tiamat. Tyurch. Typhon. Titans. Titans. Labu. Amu. Kimu. Tim. Werit. Let's see. That's cool. That's cool. We just deal with those right now. All right. Okay. Oh yeah. Give one out to Papa Guede. Now he works. If you can't get it up, call him Papa Guede. That's for you men. You women need to know that too. That could be serious business some nights. Nigga can't get it up. Call him Papa Guede. You know that whole story. Good man is hard to find, but a hard man is good to find. Call him Papa Guede. He's the god of the underworld, but he's the god that gets it up. Also, Kekumbo is one. And also too. Yeah, that's one also. So it's, you know, but these are also formulas that we deal with also. These are formulas. So there's several things. We're gonna mix this thing up. Anybody had any questions right offhand? So like some people that had to leave or something like that and all that, had something on their mind that they want to forget, because we want to put these things on the actual video also. On the actual video. So has anybody had anything? that was on their mind right off hands. Because remember now, your questions are also answers.
That's why the people left.
Huh?
That's why they left.
Oh, I mean, maybe I talked too much about religion. Maybe they thought that Satan was going to come down and bite them and all that. Maybe they were right. I don't know, you know.
Some friends of mine just left because they had their daughter.
Oh, okay, okay, there you go, okay. Oh, okay, it's cool. It's cool.
I have a question.
Yes, Deb,
When we look at the kinds of spiritual evolution
Yeah.
studies that we're looking at, which
Yeah.
is different
Right.
than mainstream,
Yes.
how do you pull young people into that when they are already being indoctrinated by Christian thinkers? Have you found something that's
well,
very successful?
Well, first of all, you're going to have to, first of all, I think that we, and I talked about this last night, I think that we're going to weigh ourselves thin in the mind frame or the mindset that we're trying to get a certain amount of people, a mass number of people. The African order never dealt on that particular level. They dealt with the nucleus, a concentrated core. So I don't think this is going to be, like I said last night, it's not going to be a mass movement. It doesn't have to be. Because what we're talking about here, we're talking about the spirit world. The spirit world is different than the physical or the mundane world. The physical and the mundane world, you need mass numbers to get a certain ideology across, a certain structure across. Everybody needs their 15 minutes of fame to be shown. And the spirit world is something totally different. We're dealing in the spirit world right now. Whereas the ancient chemists, the ancient Canaanites, or the ancient Africans understood that the group of priests ran the entire society. So now we know that the white people right now is a group of them that run the entire society. The laws that is passed that affect us is not based on city government or nothing like that. It's based on a group of people in a room somewhere. You see what I'm saying? Now that's not necessarily bad. They took that from the African concepts because they was taught that by the Moors. You see what I'm saying? And they understand that in actuality that is the basic structure of the universe. The universe is run by the atom. Your body is run by the cells. You see what I'm saying? You can have one cancer cell that can kill a whole person. You see, so it is always the small part. And you saw that on the movie Men in Black, where they had they said that the universe was on Orion's neck, and it was a little ball on the cat's neck. Right. And they were shaking the little dog, and it was like, I don't understand, how could a little universe be on the, the cat's neck? And the little dog was saying, you Americans or you Earthlings always think that things have to come in a big package. Well, I think that this stuff, what we're talking about now, is concentrated. I think that it's like Dr. John Henry Clark said before he died, the whole concept of this mass revolutionary is more romanticism. You see what I'm saying? More romanticism. And I think we've been taught to have these mass movements where we go out and we try to get a certain number of people. Two things happen. Number one, we find out that can't happen, and we also find out that we get a whole bunch of people that we really don't need. And what I mean by that is, some people just follow the crowd. And then when the new shit come in, they will be with that. The good part about American society is they're going to make sure there's some new stuff coming every 4 months. You see what I'm saying? At least every 2 or 3 years. So right now what we're talking about here, I don't think it's that much of a need to, I don't think it's that much of a need to go out and get the masses. That's another thing we also have to break out of. Thinking that in actuality, because we always think we got to teach something to the kids. You don't need to allow these goddamn kids to do nothing for you. This is another thing about children being the future. Children can damn well be your death. What I mean by that is this. Yeah. What it is you can't put off something that you want to instill in a person the next 20 years when it's going on now. Right. The spirit and this particular energy came now is because you are supposed to do it now. That's right. Not somebody, you even have some black leaders that did a whole lot of work, but their children is straight up messed up. This earth is too big of an experiment and so messed up till you can't put off for tomorrow. So this particular information, it was supposed to be for the kids 20 years down the road. It would have came 10 years later. It's now. So I think in one particular aspect, I don't even think it's even about no damn kids. It's about the people in this room. It's the concentrated few. Now they could be children in this, as well as they can be, and it's not even an age thing now. You can have somebody 40 that's a bumbling idiot. You could have somebody 18 that's a bumbling idiot. But you could have somebody 70 that knows some stuff. You could have somebody 40 that knows something. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think it's an age thing now. I think it's got something to do with a certain amount of souls that incarnated back to do a certain job. But it's not necessarily based off of you teaching this as a curriculum or something on the same science to your kids down the road and stuff, because God knows. Shit, half of them you can't tell them what to do right now. And you can beat them all day, it still don't matter. So my point here is on one aspect, I think that we are at the particular point because we are right in the middle of the war. The war has been going on. Even in the Emil Box book, Revelation of St. John said that when the people find out if there is a revelation or an apocalypse, it would have been in it 10 years before anybody even knew it happened, because we have grown so accustomed to doggone squalor. You know, bad news becomes great news. You know what I'm saying? Half the people loved it when the building fell down, man. She gave you something to talk about. You know? Until the point where as you can't even, some people can't even recognize, most people walking around here can't even recognize that it is the end. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's just like when the building fell down, white people had a run on the doggone grocery stores. That's right. And I was up in New York. I was watching the black people walking around in Brooklyn. It was like in 1975. You know, so, just walking around like, hey, in one way, it right, it don't affect us. Shit, we in hell already. We in hell already. So I think right now, I don't think that this is the type of thing where it's a mass movement to try to teach some people. I think we fall beyond that now. I think right now it's got what I know for a fact, that to pinpoint this thing and all is concentrated with the people who are enlightened, the people who would take the time out to come out on a Saturday. You see what I'm saying? That's the day off for most black folks. And to hear additional information, knowledge, which is not obsolete. So I think that in actuality, to be honest with you now to go a roundabout way to answer your question about the youth. If you be honest with them, they don't have a fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? They really don't have a problem. I did we in the early 90s when Public Enemy and all these black rap groups was pumping the knowledge, man, we used to have packed houses. Then the music industry came in and they destroyed all that. Put your boy out of what's that old nigga? Huh? No, not that. They put your boy out from Louisiana, the rap man
Master
P and all this so crazy stuff. And then they destroyed that, and the actual consciousness died amongst the youth, or the ones that's coming out. It was in high school and in college. It actually died. And so I did a lecture there last fall. I did a lecture in the spring of 2000, and did a lecture. And boy, the people came and the students bum rushed the stage afterwards. They were really hungry. So what it meant was, they don't have a problem if you just break it down on the least common denominator. But you gotta talk on their language. This shit is fucked up. They don't understand that. Now, if you come with some old Luke 49 and all that old stuff, they're like, you can get the hell on. But you have to speak to them on the language. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't have a, so that's one reason also, somebody popping a Bobby Hemmitt tape and all that, the grown people might say, that nigga, they're crazy, he going to hell or whatever. You be like, man, this nigga here talking, so, because you speak in the language of the people that you are trying to get. You see what I'm saying? As well as as well as the older ones, because you might front out here and all, but your husband might have cussed you out this morning. You never know. And you might have cursed him out. But the point I'm trying to make here is they really don't have a problem some of them are actually rebelling because you're trying to tell them to be docile when they want to really go and crack somebody's head open.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You telling them to be docile, that old Martin Luther King shit ain't washing no more. You know what I'm saying? And we can see that over and over again in the rap. They have been trying for the last 8 years to give the people that Christian rap, but it just don't mesh. This thing is built out of being hard, and it just don't mesh. You see what I'm saying? So right there, so you talking about some people in the government? No, you talking about some killers, but they are incarnated as killers.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Now, on one aspect, we understand that we don't have time to go to war with the government on that thing, but we're talking about you can convert that into spiritual warriors. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But they don't like a person, they like a person to just be straight up with them. You see what I'm saying? Straight up with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Pull out a joint, smoke it with them. I don't know. You know, I'm just saying, you really. Because you got to get out of this whole holier than thou thing. If you ain't in a joint, you know, hey, say, come on, let's have a little drink. You 16, pull out a glass and all. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm just saying, you got to get out of this moralism because it's a reason why they are rebelling against this thing. It's another entity came to the doggone planet. You know what I'm saying? And this entity came to the planet, it was not coming back for that bull. And you know what's interesting? No matter how much you teach them, they still got that same attitude. And it's almost like whenever you teach them to be docile, they like kill their spirit. They ain't never no more good after that, no. You know what I'm saying? They like kill their spirit and stuff. So my point here is that energy has to be redirected, and you can redirect that energy by just being straight up with them. But you can't come with all this holier than thou moralistic stuff. You see what I'm saying? And now we're not talking about people who don't know the difference between behavior. We're not talking about young people that's so young that they don't understand the difference. Yes, you're going to train them how to not be a fool out here. But I'm talking about there is a time when they can also use their own discretion and can analyze for themselves. And when you come to them, some of them go, you know, I ain't going to mess up because I like what she's saying. You know what I'm saying? But you got to come to them that way. That's how my mother did. My mama started telling us about that shit go up between them legs. She started telling me that stuff at doggone 6. You know about sex and all that stuff? You know what I'm saying? But she was just straight up. You know, she started just saying these things and all. And you just got to have people like that and all. You got to really talk to them. You know, so that's just the common denominator and stuff. You can't talk down to them. You got to talk on their level. You got to talk on their level and stuff because this is a different entity. These children today, they don't want to hear none of that foolishness. But what happens is the docile Martin Luther King foolishness kills their spirit. You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't incarnate back for that. So you got different entities. They say they saved the best for last. If they were supposed to be some old ham hock eating, cornbread eating niggas, they would have incarnated doggone in the doggone 30s. But see, that ain't even the run of the mill when it even comes because it's not even on a generational aspect. Because I know a woman out in California. I'll be 40 on my birthday on November 28th. She'll be 70 because I'm 39. She's 69, and she'll be 70. And this woman, all this woman think about is want to kill white folks. So I said, man, and I kept saying it over and over, but I said, this woman knows better, man. This woman, then the spirit was like, this is a damn warrior. I said, the white man better pray that they don't get this sister out here, and they give this sister the power to kill. She won't take no goddamn lunch break. None. And she's 70. And she's 70 be having me blushing. You know what I'm saying? She said, I don't care, just hand them over to me, I just kill them. And the spirit was like, this is a straight up killer warrior. And she came back for the task of the Grim Reaper. And if she get her thing, she ain't gonna take no lunch break. You can send her some messed up niggas on the slaughtering block. It don't make no difference with her. Gotta go, gotta go. You know? And after a while, I said, well, she ain't gonna lighten up on this thing. It's been 6 years. This woman will be 70, and she ain't lighting up on this thing here. So obviously, this doggone woman here has come back for this thing to slay people. And that's all she talk about, is I'm getting this shit right. They say the great mama coming back to kill this thing, and she said, I'm getting it right. She said, I don't care. I'm going to slay her. And she'll be 70. So this whole thing based on this age thing is based on some stuff that somebody done programmed into you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, you don't supposed to do certain things. You don't supposed to feel certain things because of your age. That's a whole form of doggone training. You see, the whole form of training. And so we got to get out of that whole science. It's just like this particular paper. This was off of the internet. Let me see if I can still get it, because some of this stuff you can still pull up. See if I can get this, get the actual paper here. www.therapeuticdimensions.com. The woman name is Jelailas. Jalea. Jelailas. Jalea. And Jalea article comments number 4. And in this particular thing here, that's www.therapeuticdimensions.com. Now, these are all white folks. And it says that the African Americans, for the most part, are the heirs to the earth. You see what I'm saying? Their soul group has come from Sirius B and has polarized to the light. You know, so in this particular article, these white folks are saying that we are the heirs to the earth, as well as a book called The Zelator. It's a purple book put out by Samuel Weiser. I think the guy's name is Mark Hetzel, I think his name is. But anyway, if you can't get that, the name of the book is called The Zelator. And in that particular book, this guy, he studied all this occult stuff for years. Is this thing, let me see. Yeah, okay. I might well put it on up here some. And he studied this occult stuff for years. Yeah, that sounds a little better. Don't have to holler as much. He studied this occult stuff for years, and his conclusion, he died in 1997, and his conclusion was that, yeah, that's better here, that the only way out of this for white folks is they had to link up with some black group in America that was studying some advanced science. He thought it was going to be some black Masonic group. He just didn't know that the Masons, the black Masons, was nothing but some, you know, just some drinking liquor, driving cabs, and you know, just some buffoon, Fred Flintstone, Buffalo Lodge people, something like that. But he was still trying to say that in order for us to survive as white folks, we got to link up with an advanced group of black people. You see what I'm saying? So they even knew that that was their only hope. And this was when he died. His book was called The Zelator, and another guy did his footnotes in the back. After he died, he wrote the book, but he left all these unfinished notes. And the guy logged in all these notes, and the notes was almost 100 pages. And basically, it's called The Zelator. But in the footnotes, this guy said that our only hope is a black group in the United States. You see, so that means they don't have no hope. Because for damn if I'm saving any crackers, I can even if you got the soul, like I say, 2% of them got souls. We're going to cut your head off so we can see whether the soul come out. Because we just can't take that chance. Like what's going to say, if you take that white man and send him to heaven, you send 4 of them to heaven with 1 billion black people. You best believe in 100 years, them 4 crackers going to be running heaven, and you're going to be serving them their damn tea. Come on now. It's like Dr. Ben says, when white people up in heaven, I'll go back. Shoot, I'll leave. Now that's metaphysical on that particular aspect, but the point on what they're trying to say here is, even Steve Coakley, who had studied the whole New World Order and all that stuff for years, he said that he had run up on some article of what the white people said, that what their response was to these particular people who ran the government, these particular people, the government behind the government, was that the only way that they could survive would be a black group. Only way that they can fight against the Illuminati would be some black urban group in America. You see what I'm saying? So they know that the rules are in all spiritual aspects. But why would they say that? Because they know, based on a lot of papyruses and a lot of stuff that they hold, that the rules are, and the rules state, that the meek shall inherit the earth, but it will be, in the Bible they say that the plowman will overtake its master. That's in the Bible. I think that's in Isaiah somewhere. You see, as well as the book, I brought the book, because you said, this is Nostradamus, the complete prophecies of Nostradamus. And in this one, it says, page 107, the complete prophecies of Nostradamus by Henry C. Roberts, updated by Robert Lawrence. You can still get this particular book. It's still in print. In this it says, in page 107, the world being near its last period, Saturn shall come yet late to its return. That's the astronomical aspect, but that's the Dogon. They did these Psyche ceremonies to polarize Jupiter and Saturn. They did one in 94, and they did one in the spring of the year. The empire shall be changed into black nations, and Newborn will have their eyes picked out with a hawk. Even the guy, so it says, the empire shall be changed into black nations. And even the guy who was actually doing the translation said, towards the end of the world, the dark nation shall reign supreme. This passage represents the rise of black African and third world nations. So they say that in this particular book. Now here's another one. This one has a lot to do with what's going on right now. We'll get into that in a few seconds. Page 109. His last hand bloody through all the U.S., talking about the government, shall not save him by sea, which means he can't go overseas and fight this foreign enemy and be victorious, but shall be between two rivers. See, he's talking, he said he would put stuff in code. Two rivers is two oceans. He shall feel a military hand, and a black and wrathful one shall be repented. So in so many words, it says the rise of the Black Power riots in the United States. Nostradamus refers to the Los Angeles riots of the Rodney King trial. But this is a guy that's right, he's trying to put some type of spin on it, because he knows that what they're talking about here is a black and wrathful one. Now one of the same quatrains said that it will be a black one that will make him bend a bloody knee. You see what I'm saying? And a black terrible one. In some of the other Nostradamus books, because I studied several of them, it said that there will be a mighty empire that will be vexed or destroyed by African fleets. And it wasn't talking about no ships. It was talking about some type of power coming from the African or the black community. You see what I'm saying? So they know that. Now in the Hermetic text, Asclepius, which I always talk about, you can get it in Walter Scott's Hermetica. You could also find it in Walter Scott's Hermetica. You can find it in the book Thrice Greatest Hermes. And there's a little book that you just got. There's another book that put the prophecy out called Hermetica. A little blue book.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I don't know if they go to the end, but the prophecy talks about how it's a 5,000-year-old prophecy. This is on my tapes. And it talks about how Egypt will be turned into a big graveyard, and how the people who used to be revered as heaven on earth will become just. It says that these particular people, although they would be Africans, their minds would be of another race. And they said that the strong man will be considered weak, and the weak man will be considered strong. But then Imhotep starts to cry, and they said, "Why are you weeping, Imhotep?" Or Asclepius, as they call him in there. And he said, "Well, will we ever get out of this?" And he said, "Yes. Maya will be established. He said, where? He said, well, will be a group of Africans that will establish Maya in this land that's not even established. It's not even established. And, you know, they said it will establish Maya, which is basically retribution. They say reciprocity, but there's the law of retribution. That's one of those cosmic laws. You get the book, the Kabbalion, they talk about these different laws. They took the law of retribution out. But there's the law of retribution. And they said it will be established by these group of Egyptians that will be in America. Now, we know that our bloodline comes from Kemet because the guy named Theodore, what did I say that guy's name was? Theodore P. Something Theodore P. He wrote a book called God Wills the Negro. Wrote it in 1939. In this particular book, I don't know if you can get it because I have a copy of it. And it was spiritual that I got the copy. He wrote the book in 1939. He put the book out. He went to the University of Chicago. And he had done research on the black people that lived in Chicago at the time and showed that their phenotypes match the East African Egyptian statues in the University of Chicago more so than the West African. And he tells the story how when the Arabs invaded Egypt, or Kemet, the last invasion, where you have your Arabs now, those people migrated over to West Africa, the Egyptians. And they had, they migrated over to West Africa, and they had, and then years later after the slave trade came, the African kings understood that these people were homeless because their land was overrun in East Africa. So years later, after the slave trade, some of the African kings gave them up to put on the boats because they were homeless. They had to take care of their folks, so they said that the homeless got to go. And as a result, it said that some of that indigenous strain ended up coming to America. So this is interesting because this goes right along with the prophecies coming out of the wisdom of Tahuti, that there will be some Kamites. Well, the problem here is, for the white man, is that when we got back into this particular knowledge and started dealing with all this Egyptian stuff, it scared the living shit out of him because he knew that the prophecy had been fulfilled. Because even because we every 20-something years, we try to come into a research of a certain type of history. We did it in the late 70s, or the early 70s, late 60s, when black people started getting back to the African stuff. They started wearing the afros, they started speaking Swahili, they started doing some things there. But when it came back around again, because we always die, this time we tapped into classical culture, the Kamite culture, and it scared the shit out of him because the prophecy had been fulfilled. So you best believe that all this stuff that's going down out here, right now they putting stuff on lockdown, ain't based on no Arabs. It's based on those group of black people who accessed this particular information the last 13, 14 years, only into now. This is talking about us. It ain't talking about the masses of Negroes, but they understand that it ain't got nothing to do with the masses. They understand it has to do with that remnant, because they said it will be an appendage of Egyptians, a small group of Kamites in the West, that will, you know now this is going on the tape now. And as soon as I get out of it, people all over the world be like, "Oh, I didn't answer that baby to get the hell on out of here." But I'm just telling you how it go now. I'm just telling you on TV land, that's how it goes now. They're gonna be pissed at me, you know. So I just want to put that out there. But anyway, they're not locking this thing down based on a group of these particular Negroes out here ain't doing nothing. They still are scared of that small element because here it goes again. Remember I told you yesterday that you have a circle with a dot in the middle. This is a system that you see all over Africa. A circle with a dot in the middle. Looks about like this. Looks about like this. This is the zodiac. And you have that dot in the middle. And that dot is the only thing, all the rest of the stuff radiates out. So, in so many words, this would be the masses of the people. But they don't exist. They just go with the current which is ruling the land. So if the white man tells them to jump, they will jump. It is only the nucleus which is the key. This is the eye of Heru. It is only these two dots that run shit.
Come on now.
You see what I'm saying? So even in the eye of Heru, let me get a picture of the eye of Heru. Let's see here. Well, I'll show you. But even in the eye of Horus, you see the little black dot. That's the same thing that runs things. So they don't care on how much degenerated Negroes are. Because black people have lost their minds. You know what I'm saying? Have lost their mind. They don't care about that. Only thing they care about is this black dot that's in the middle. And that's the whole thing. Everything is run from the black dot. So the nucleus, we got a couple of thousand across the United States. A few hundred in each city that is left behind that ain't lost their damn mind. You see? But that's the only thing that they're worried about because they have the prophecy on that it will be. And that's when they say in this Jaleel thing that the Africans in America is the heirs to the earth. Because what they're saying, the black conscious people that tapped in the last couple of years, they are looking at your ass. Even white folks. White boys